Hello, people. Hope you're well. Welcome back to Fight Friday. We are one day away from the PFL Battle of the Giants pay-per-view. But between now and then, which we will be doing a watch along for, so make sure you join us for that. We're going to be speaking about the news that broke last night. Umar Nurmagomedov is not going to be fighting next for the belt. Instead, he's going to be fighting Song Yadong. Also, rumors coming out that Merab's next title defense or his first title defense will be against the man he took the belt from, Sean O'Malley, in 2025 of March. And then Alex Pereira managed to go on the Ariel Helwani show and spoke about his next potential return and when that will be. If you haven't already, please do smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel as well, guys. Right. I'm going to start with Merab and Sean. Rumors came out last night that the UFC are trying to make the fight between those two for March 2025. Now, Sean O'Malley is coming off a slight injury with surgery had to have. Merab, obviously coming off the back of the win over O'Malley, is now the current bantamweight champion. What I don't get, though, is two things. Why O'Malley is getting an immediate rematch. In fact, I know why, but I still don't understand why it's happening. Why O'Malley's getting a rematch. Not sure why that's happening. And then also not sure why Merab's the one getting the backlash for this as well. I don't think there's a secret with the UFC. The secret is out. The UFC wants entertaining fights and it wants the champions to be entertaining, or what they perceive to be entertaining. Now, Sean O'Malley is entertaining inside and outside the cage, barring his last fight where he got dominated by Merab. But he got dominated. Leon Edwards isn't getting an immediate title match, even though he defended his belt twice. O'Malley defended his belt once. Why is O'Malley getting a title shot? And if you're going to tell me it's because he's the most popular person in the division, then why is there a ranking system? Why does Dana get so upset about the ranking system if they're just going to ignore it? It's weird. It doesn't make sense. Corey Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov, who I'm going to speak about shortly, had a number one contendership match. Umar won the fight, making him the number one contender. Why is Sean getting another crack at the belt? I don't understand it. I don't for the life of me understand it. Then you think, okay, why is Merab getting the brunt of it? Because obviously Merab came out and said he didn't want to fight Umar because he didn't think Umar deserved a title shot. However, Merab's not in a position where he can reject title fights. He's not in a position where he can turn around to the UFC and go, I'm not fighting Umar. I'm just not doing it. He's not in that position. He's not a big enough star. He's not a big enough name. And he's not a big enough draw to have that pull. We saw it with Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards did not want to fight Bilal Muhammad. He had to fight Bilal Muhammad. We've seen it with countless other champions. Tyron Woodley didn't want to fight certain people. He wanted to fight one of the Diaz brothers instead. He got told, no, you're fighting said person. It would be the exact same with Merab. If they turned around and said, Merab, you're fighting Umar, that's your next title fight, the fight's done. The only thing I can think of is Umar didn't want to wait until March. I don't know when Ramadan is next year, so I don't want to quote the dates and get it wrong. But I don't know if it's in and around Ramadan when Merab is going to be defending against Sean O'Malley. I'm not too sure. But if I'm going to be honest, even if Merab can't fight until March and Ramadan falls in that remit, why is Sean getting title shot? He just lost, and he lost decisively to the person who has the belt. Are you telling me we couldn't put anyone else in for that title shot? Are you telling me Davis and Figueiredo couldn't get it? I know he's coming off a loss, but are you telling me Sandhagen couldn't get it? I mean, O'Malley's coming off a loss and he's getting a title shot. Granted, he's higher in the rankings because he just got dethroned as champion, but what's the argument for it not being Davis and Figueiredo then? Davidson's on a win streak. He hasn't fought for the belt in this division. He's a former champion in another division. One of the most entertaining fighters on the whole roster. Why is it not him? Why is it O'Malley? And I'm saying this as an O'Malley fan. But there has to be a point where you keep merit in the organization. There has to be a point where it stays a sport and doesn't go fully over to the realms of just entertainment. You have to have a ranking system for a reason. You have to implement that ranking system, whether you like the ranking system or not. Until you change the ranking system, you've got to adhere to it in some way, shape, or form. You've got to have morality in this division. You've got to have morality across the UFC, because it's weird what's happening at the moment. And if O'Malley does get the fight, obviously I'll tune in. I won't have a horse in the race because I like Merab and I like O'Malley. It'd just be a fight I'll just sit back and enjoy. But I don't think he deserves a fight, if I'm going to be honest. I want to be totally honest. Which leads me on to Umar, who I think should be getting the next fight. On a winning streak as well. Just beat Corey Sandhagen, who is arguably the boogeyman of the division. And he's still not getting a title shot. He's having to fight Son Yadong in December now, which is a risky fight. I think Umar wins the fight, but it's still a risky fight. What if he gets injured in that fight? What if he gets a really bad cut? What if he loses the fight? All that hard work he would have built up, just gone like that. Now, granted, you could make Son Yadong a star off the back of that, absolutely. But is that fair on Umar? Now, granted, Umar didn't have to say yes to the fight. He could have probably waited it out. And given that his connection with Khabib and who he's managed by, etc., he probably could have done that and still got a title shot. But it doesn't make much sense to me. It doesn't make much sense. Why not just hold off for a little bit and then have the fight with Umar and Merab? Because who's to say they don't have a close fight? Let's just say O'Malley and Merab have a really close fight and O'Malley wins the belt. Doesn't Merab then deserve a title shot? Doesn't he deserve the rematch if it ends up being a controversial decision or a decision where the majority of people think he won the fight, which then delays the division even more? So for me, I don't really get it. I think it's really weird. I think it's a really weird decision by the UFC. I think it's quite weird from Umar to accept the fight as well, unless he knows something that we don't, which could by all means be the case. But I find it very weird. I find it very intriguing as to what's happening right now. And we can only sit back and watch how it all plays out. But yeah, very weird one for me. Very weird one. Moving on to someone who has earned it, someone who's not weird and someone who's not in a weird situation, and that is Alex Poatan Pereira. As things stand, the male fighter of the year 2024, the face of the UFC as things stand right now from active competitive fighters. And he spoke about saying how he wanted to return in December. He actually wanted to return in December, but he said he's unable to because of sponsorship obligations, which is crazy. He's fought 3 times already. He fought at UFC 300, 303, if I'm not mistaken, and 307. He's fought 3 times and was willing to fit in another fight between now and the end of the year. If that's not a machine, I don't know what is. If that's not a beast, I don't know who is. And he also spoke intriguingly about the situation with Ankalaev and said that the UFC haven't made the fight because they don't want to make the fight. He said he's willing to fight him or anyone. But he said the UFC aren't willing to make the fight because he's a boring fighter. Speaking about Ankalaev here, he's a boring fighter, doesn't bring enough eyes. And he's also said because of his trash talking, he might make it even more difficult for Ankalaev to get the fight. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't like that last line from Alex. As a man who says he'll fight anyone, I have to believe that's got to be trolling. Because Alex is proven he'll step in there with anyone at any time, pretty much. And because of the notion of the fight where people think that he's going to get out grappled by Ankalaev and dominated, him coming out and saying that doesn't paint him in a good light. However, he can turn around and say, well, look at my resume and tell me a fight I've turned down. So he has got that on his side. One thing I keep on saying, and I'll keep on saying, everyone is overlooking Rakic. I don't think Rakic is an easy day's work for Ankalaev, if I'm going to be honest. I think it's a very, very difficult fight for Ankalaev. Rakic has got excellent leg kicks. He's got good takedown defense. He's got good grappling, and he hits and kicks hard. Very hard. If I'm not mistaken, so far, the only person who's walked through his punches is Yuri Prohaska, but the only person who Yuri hasn't walked through punches from is Alex Pereira. Yuri is a machine as well. Rakic is a very live dog in this fight against Ankalaev. So everyone keeps on talking about Ankalaev and Pereira. Rakic could really spoil the party there. Back to Pereira, though. He's saying he wants to return in March. Now, it seems to me you've got O'Malley and Merab, which is trying to be made in March, and then you've got Alex saying he wants to return in March. That's 2 title fights on one pay-per-view. So that March card is massive. However, March is usually in the UK. So are they going to do 2 pay-per-views that month? Who knows? Or are they going to push one back? Either way, Alex Pereira is the most exciting fight on the roster at the moment. But that light heavyweight division is complicated to an extent because he's complicated by beating so many people. If he watches the Ankalaev fight and Ankalaev puts on a good performance and wins convincingly, I think that's obviously the next fight. If Rakic gets the win, though, I think you have to run Rakic as well. Unless he moves up to heavyweight, which I'm starting to believe might happen. Tom Aspinall spoke the other day saying that UFC have revealed that they've got something very, very exciting for him, a very, very big fight potentially. I mean, he's not going to say that about Cyril Gane. He's not going to say that about Volkov. He's not going to say that about the heavyweights apart from John Jones. Stipe, he's beaten Pavlovich already. He's beaten Volkov already. He's beaten Curtis Blaydes. He's running through that division. He's not going to speak like that about Jailton Almeida. Tom Aspinall, for me, right there was dropping a hint about him versus Alex Pereira. And I tell you what, if Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall happens in the UK, it will be the highest grossing gate in UK history for MMA. And it will go a long time before that's beaten. It will go a very long time. So I'm up for that fight. I'd like to see Pereira fight Ankalaev and beat him just so he can turn around and to say to people, look, I've had majority of my fights against strikers, but I can defeat a grappler as well, or someone who's good at grappling. Because again, Ankalaev isn't a grappler. He's not a wrestler. It's because he's from Dagestan. Everyone assumes he's a wrestler. He's not a wrestler. He prefers striking, but he has got good grappling as well. But if I'm going to be honest, another one I do want to see, him run it back with Jan Blachowicz. I want to see Jan fight for a start, but I want to see Alex run it back with Jan. Because at the time of watching the fight, I had Jan winning the fight. I really did. So I wouldn't mind seeing him run that back. And if anyone could deal with Alex's leg kicks and actually throw leg kicks that hurt Alex, it's Jan. So I'd be very intrigued at that fight as well. So maybe 2 more fights for Alex at light heavy and then 1 at heavyweight. Or you could even do it the other way around. Run at heavyweight and then 1 or 2 at light heavy. But people, look, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the Merab situation with O'Malley. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the situation with Umar and Nurmagomedov. And I'd love for you guys to leave your comments below as to who you'd like to see Alex Pereira fight next. Got a shout out to some people in the comments. Got a shout out to Leon. Shout out to Theo as always. And shout out to the man himself, ARK. Leon and Scance as well. Big up Scance. Usually if the champion O'Malley loses in a dominant fashion, there's no need for an immediate rematch. Umar must be peed surely, but he's accepted the fight, so I don't know, man. I hear it. So many across the course of history. Tyron Woodley defended his belt multiple times, lost to Usman, never got a title shot rematch. Leon Edwards defended his belt twice, never got a rematch with Bilal Muhammad. Aljamain Sterling lost to Sean O'Malley, was never going to get the rematch. Like, the list just goes on and on and on. So for me, it's a bit of a weird one. But again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So please make sure you leave your comments. I will be back on here with Luke and Jamie tomorrow night for the PFL watch along for Battle of the Giants. So please do join us there. And then I'll probably do a post fight card recap for that. And also speak about the UFC fight night that's happening tomorrow as well. So people, thank you all for watching, listening, and joining. And before I go, I ask one thing, please subscribe to the Sanderson Show. Thank you for watching and listening. Not sure what happened there. But before I go, please make sure you subscribe to the Sanderson Show. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Speak soon. Take care.